Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain a Colombian supernatural horror film from 2026, titled The Whistler. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The film opens with a statement about the cult of Maria Leonza, a long-standing spiritual belief system in Venezuela that centers on spirit possession and communication with the dead. Followers believe that spirits live among them and can inhabit human bodies. The story begins on a sugarcane farm, where a tribeswoman is walking when she is startled by a passing truck. After leaving the farm, she continues along the roadside and starts hearing strange noises behind her, but sees nothing. Moments later, the truck returns, and she is captured. Her captor identifies her as a medium used by locals to summon spirits. The woman pleads for her life, insisting she wants no trouble. However, he reassures her, claiming she will help him fix everything, and when questioned, she introduces herself as Timty. The man, along with others, performs a ritual on Timty, and a strange knife is used to cut her tongue, and she becomes possessed. She is then covered and dragged back to the sugarcane farm but somehow manages to escape. Soon after, her captor hears a faint whistling sound and flees on horseback. He does not get far before hearing the sound again, and suddenly, the possessed Timty attacks and kills him. The story then shifts to a couple, Nikki and Sebastian, who are traveling to Venezuela to visit Sebastian's mother. They stop near the same sugarcane farm, where Nicole steps out of the car and becomes alarmed, believing that ash falling from the sky is a bad omen. Sebastian reassures her that it is simply the result of sugarcane being burned for harvest. It is revealed that the couple lost their daughter, Daniela, 2 years earlier, and Nicole is still struggling to cope with the loss. Sebastian encourages her to stay strong during their visit, and she assures him she is there to support him. After some time, they arrive at Sebastian's family home, and their visit is to attend the burial of his recently deceased father, Vicente. Sebastian greets his mother, Isabel, and Nicole offers her condolences, and it is then revealed that Vicente was the same man who captured Timty at the beginning of the film. As preparations are completed, Vicente's body is taken for burial, with villagers offering prayers, and during this, Nicole briefly notices a strange woman behaving oddly behind them. Finally, a prayer is held in the church for Vicente, and it is said that his soul has now joined his granddaughter, Daniela, for eternity. That night during dinner, Sebastian tells his mother that they will not be staying long, as his boss has only given him 5 days off, and Isabel is clearly unhappy that they plan to leave so soon. Sebastian and Nicole suggest that she come and live with them, but Isabel refuses, explaining that she cannot abandon their ancestral land. Sebastian offers to help her sell the property for a good price, but Isabel insists that this will not be possible because of the squatters living on the land. She explains to Nicole that the squatters are Marialenceros and points them out performing ceremonies by the river. Sebastian adds that the Marialenceros are a cult who believe that spirits will come to solve their problems. He also reveals that previous attempts to evict them failed because they have influential support, and suddenly, the electricity in the village goes out. Isabel and Sebastian seem to understand the cause, and the scene briefly shifts to the sugarcane farm, where the possessed Timty is seen. Later that night, Nicole, unable to sleep, begins to hear strange noises outside her bedroom door. The door slowly creaks open, but it turns out to be the family dog, Chano. She lets him in and settles him down. When the electricity returns, Nicole watches an old video recorded when Daniela was still alive, showing the family discussing her upcoming birthday. A few minutes later, Chano notices someone in the distance and runs after them, with Nicole following behind. The person turns out to be Petra, the family's house help, who appears to be praying. She warns Nicole to return to the city, saying it is not safe here, but does not explain why. As Nicole walks near the sugarcane farm, Chano hears a faint whistling sound and runs toward it. Nicole calls out to him, but he does not respond. She enters the farm to search for him, unaware that the possessed Timty is watching her, and suddenly startled by a bird, Nicole panics and runs out of the farm. The next morning, Sebastian and some villagers release the cattle to graze, and one of the men, Aroa, asks if Sebastian plans to leave, but he says he will not. Meanwhile, Nicole continues searching for Chano but cannot find him. She goes to Petra and explains that Chano ran into the sugarcane farm after hearing a whistling sound and never returned. Petra dismisses her concern, saying the dog will come back when he is hungry, and Nicole leaves as Petra prepares to kill a chicken. Later, while Nicole is looking through a collection of books, Isabel approaches her, clearly troubled. She urges Nicole to have another child, but Nicole refuses, explaining that she is still grieving Daniela and does not want another baby. Nicole resumes her search for Chano in the sugarcane farm but still cannot find him. Soon, she hears a dog barking in the distance and follows the sound until she reaches a narrow bridge made of bamboo sticks. Hearing the barking from the other side, she ties her horse and carefully crosses the bridge, unaware that something unties the horse behind her. On the other side, Nicole comes across an offering altar and encounters the Marialienceros, the squatters, performing a ritual on one of their members. Suddenly, the girl being used in the ritual begins coughing blood and speaking in their language, which excites the group. When the girl locks eyes with Nicole, she begins to speak in Daniela's voice, shocking her, and as the villagers notice Nicole, they chase after her. She manages to escape by crossing the bridge back to the other side and runs away. At the same time, Sebastian discovers that 5 of the cows are missing. One villager, Dario, suspects that the squatters may have stolen them, noting that they have previously taken electricity and sugarcane. But Aroa disagrees, suggesting the cows may have wandered into the forest, and just then, Nicole's horse returns without her, and Sebastian realizes that she may be in danger. While resting in the field, Nicole is unaware that the possessed Timty is watching her, and at the same time, Sebastian is searching for her. He eventually finds her and takes her home, where Isabel tells Nicole she is lucky that nothing happened to her. During dinner, Sebastian raises the issue of the missing cows, convinced that the squatters are responsible. Frustrated, he points out that they have already taken their land, electricity, and now their cattle. He even questions whether they might have had something to do with Vicente's death, but Isabel disagrees. Later, Nicole visits Petra, who is also one of the Marialienceros, seeking help. When Nicole asks about Maria Leonza, Petra explains that she is regarded as a queen, a deity who protects the Marialienceros. Nicole reveals that she heard Daniela's voice earlier that day and asks Petra to arrange a similar ritual so she can communicate with her daughter. Petra refuses, warning that the group is dangerous, and says she cannot perform the ritual because an evil spirit is on the loose, which she identifies as the Whistler. Nicole realizes she heard the same sound on the night Chano disappeared, and Petra cautions her that if she hears the whistling again, she must be careful. The farther away it sounds, the closer it actually is, and advises her to stay at home. Back at the house, Nicole and Sebastian talk, and it becomes clear that Sebastian does not believe in Maria Leonza and considers it all false. When Nicole insists that Daniela may be trying to reach her, Sebastian tells her to pull herself together. The next morning, 2 men, Ruben and Nixon, are working in the sugarcane field when they begin to hear an eerie whistling sound. Nixon immediately recognizes it as the Whistler and urges them to leave, but Ruben insists he is not afraid. Nixon eventually leaves, while Ruben approaches the source of the sound. When he reaches the spot, he finds nothing, only to hear the whistling coming from another direction. Growing frightened, he tries to leave the field, but he is suddenly attacked and killed by the possessed Timty, now known as the Whistler. Meanwhile, Sebastian and the other villagers head into the forest to search for the missing cows, and at the same time, Nicole also goes into the forest to meet the Marialienceros. She discovers the group conducting a burial ceremony for Ruben, who was attacked and killed by the Whistler. The group's leader orders that she be taken away, and inside a tent, Nicole explains the purpose of her visit. She wants a ceremony to communicate with her daughter. However, the leader, Invasaro, tells her they cannot perform any ceremonies at the moment. Although he would like to help, their medium, Timty, is missing and the Whistler is still at large, and warns that performing a ceremony could allow the Whistler to possess another body. Nicole insists and offers to pay any amount, but Invasaro refuses, telling her that the sooner she accepts her daughter's death, the sooner she can begin to heal. Nicole says she cannot accept it and explains that her daughter's death was her fault, and despite this, Laureano stands firm, and Nicole leaves. However, the group's English interpreter, Laureano, secretly meets with Nicole and tells her he can help, but only if she brings a specific amount of money, which she agrees to. He instructs her to come alone and to bring an item that belonged to her daughter. Meanwhile, Sebastian and the villagers find the missing cows, and on their way back, they come across a tree where they discover Cheno's body, his stomach torn open. Aroa blames the squatters and recalls that Sebastian's father, Vicente, was found in the same condition at the same tree. When Nicole returns home, Sebastian questions where she has been, and she replies that she went to look for Cheno. Sebastian then shows her Cheno's body and suggests that the squatters may be responsible, and warns her not to go out riding again. That night, Petra is seen performing a ceremony using clothes that belong to someone. During dinner, Sebastian confronts his mother for not telling him the truth about how his father died. He is angry that she kept the truth from him, that Vicente was murdered by the squatters. In response, Isabel expresses her anger at Sebastian for abandoning the family for so long and says that only his father's death brought him back home. Meanwhile, Petra is seen in the sugarcane farm continuing the ceremony when Nicole approaches her. Nicole questions why the squatters killed Chano, but Petra tells her it was not them and begins to share a story. Long ago, there was a boy who loved hunting and learned to lure his prey by whistling, but he had a dark heart. One night during a hunt, his father caught him torturing his dog and beat him. The next day, the boy brought meat home for his mother to cook, and when she asked about his father, the boy did not respond. Later, the townspeople found his father hanging from a tree, his stomach cut open, and that was when the mother realized she had unknowingly cooked her husband's remains. The boy was then hanged on the same tree where his father died and was tortured until he would repent, but he never did. They beat him, yet he did not cry, they set him on fire, yet he did not scream, and as he burned, he only whistled. Since then, his spirit has roamed, searching for a body so it can continue hunting. Petra reveals that the spirit has returned because the squatters performed a ritual to invoke it, hoping to drive them away, and warns Nicole that they are not safe until the spirit is gone. The next morning, Nicole takes her deceased daughter's favorite toy and drives to meet Laureano. Instead, she meets his daughter, Grisey, who leads her to where Laureano is waiting. Meanwhile, Sebastian and the villagers, fed up with the squatters, destroy the electricity lines the squatters had tapped from them. At the same time, Aroa, who is at home, begins to hear eerie whistling, and discovers a bloodied cow skull on his front porch. As the whistling continues, he is attacked and killed by the whistler, though he manages to cut off one of its hands. Grisey leads Nicole to the place where the ceremony will be held, and at the same time, Sebastian and the villagers destroy the bridge linking the two communities. After meeting Laureano, Nicole pays half of the agreed amount, but he tells her he is risking his own daughter to help her. He explains that Grisey's mother left for the United States without informing them because she was unhappy living here, and he has been saving money to give Grisey a better life, and Nicole then pays the full amount. As they prepare for the ceremony, Grisey places a photograph of her mother on a wall, revealing that her mother is Timti. Back in the village, Petra goes to meet Aroa but finds his lifeless body and immediately understands what has happened. She picks up his cutlass and, after spotting the whistler's severed hand, sets out to track it down. After completing the preparations, Laureano begins the ceremony, using Grisey as a medium to contact Daniela's spirit, and at the same time, Petra tracks the whistler, finding it crawling through the bushes. When the ritual fails to produce any result, Laureano becomes frustrated, and according to tradition, blood should come from Grisey's mouth as a sign that the spirit has arrived. To force this, he gives her a blade and instructs her to cut her own tongue. Meanwhile, Petra reaches the possessed Timti, kills her, and retrieves a strange knife from her hands as her photograph begins to catch fire. The ceremony finally appears to work, and Nicole hears Daniela's voice through Grisey, but the spirit warns that something is wrong. Suddenly, all the candles go out, and Grisey becomes possessed by the Whistler. She attacks and kills Laureano, forcing Nicole to flee. Nicole discovers that the bridge has been destroyed, so she makes her way across the river to reach the other side. After finding Aroa's body, Dario wants to confront the squatters, believing they are responsible, but Sebastian insists they must prepare first. Meanwhile, Petra is seen taking Timothy's body away to bury it, while Sebastian prepares to confront the squatters and gives his mother a gun for protection. As Sebastian and the villagers are about to leave, Nicole returns home and tells them that the squatters are not responsible, the Whistler is. She recounts how Laureano was killed during the ceremony. However, Sebastian becomes annoyed with her for attempting to contact Daniela's spirit, and they leave. Nicole then tries to warn Isabel about the Whistler, but Isabel dismisses it as a legend. Nicole insists it is real, but Isabel, believing Nicole is still overwhelmed by grief over Daniela's death, reassures her that everything will be fine. That night, Sebastian and the villagers set the sugarcane farm on fire, and at the same time, Petra sets Timothy's body ablaze. Back at the house, Nicole and Isabel hear an eerie whistling sound, and Nicole warns Isabel that it is the Whistler. Isabel quickly retrieves the gun from the safe, and the two quietly step outside. As they approach the car, the whistling continues, prompting them to rush toward it. However, Isabel suddenly stops when she notices the Whistler beneath the car. She is attacked and killed. While calling out to her, Nicole hears the whistling again and runs back inside the house. Meanwhile, Sebastian and the other villagers come across a strange totem, and frightened, the villagers flee, leaving only Sebastian and Dario behind. Nicole goes to Petra's house, where she discovers a strange altar and the mysterious knife, and is soon confronted by Petra. Nicole questions why she has the knife, and Petra claims it is meant to protect her family, but Nicole does not believe her. Petra then reveals a shocking truth. When Vicente could not drive the squatters off the land, he asked for her help. It was Petra who summoned the Whistler into Timty. She tells Nicole that it is over now and that they are safe, since the Whistler cannot survive without a body. Nicole is distressed to learn that Petra killed Timty, who was Grisey's mother. Petra is then shocked to discover that Nicole attempted a ceremony to contact Daniela, but that it went wrong and allowed the Whistler to possess Grisey. Nicole insists that something must be done to save Grisey without killing her, since they are responsible for the deaths of her parents. She suggests offering the Whistler a new body, as was done with Grisey, and volunteers herself. Petra opposes the idea, warning that once the Whistler takes over her body, it will force her to commit terrible acts. Nicole insists that Petra must be prepared to kill her if it comes to that, as she blames herself for what happened to Grisey. Meanwhile, Sebastian and Dario continue searching for the squatters when they begin to hear strange whispers. They split up to continue the search, and in the confusion, Sebastian mistakenly shoots Dario, believing him to be a squatter. As the faint whistling returns, Dario realizes it is the Whistler, and Sebastian helps him up, but they are suddenly attacked. When Sebastian regains consciousness, he finds himself trapped in a tree, with Dario dead beside him, and begins screaming for help. Meanwhile, Nicole and Petra put their plan into action to lure out the Whistler, and Petra teaches Nicole a set of Spanish words to repeat continuously before she leaves. As Nicole chants, she uses the Whistler's knife and sets it on fire, drawing the spirit out of hiding. At the same time, the squatters discover Sebastian trapped in the tree and help him down. Nicole soon encounters the Whistler and manages to lure it into a cage, where Petra traps it. However, instead of following their original plan, Petra prepares to kill the spirit, but Nicole intervenes and pushes Petra toward the Whistler, leading to her death. Still holding the knife, Nicole continues chanting the Spanish words, and at that moment, Sebastian arrives with a gun and tells Nicole to step back. She urges him not to shoot, insisting that Grisey can still be saved, and continues chanting. Soon, the squatters join in, repeating the Spanish words in an effort to free Grisey. Nicole then runs off and locks herself in a room, intending to perform a ritual on herself. Sebastian pleads with her to stop, but she proceeds, cutting her tongue with the knife, and this causes the Whistler's spirit to leave Grisey and begin possessing Nicole. After a struggle, Sebastian manages to break into the room and pull Nicole out of the burning building. Believing her to be dead, he breaks down in grief, while the squatters, including Grisey, now freed, pray for her. Meanwhile, Nicole experiences a vision in which she enters a tent and is reunited with her daughter, Daniela. She apologizes for her role in her daughter's death, but Daniela reassures her that she is not angry. Shortly after, Nicole is revived, bringing relief to everyone. Days later, Nicole and Sebastian begin to reconcile with the squatters, even working together to rebuild a bridge, and it is also revealed that Nicole is pregnant. The film concludes with the Whistler's knife in the hands of a young boy, who is about to cut a little girl's palm to initiate her into their group. Okay guys, that's all the recap about the Whistler from 2026. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.